Have you ever stopped to think about the water coming out of your tap? Or the river you drive over every day? Behind all of it, there's this hidden world of massive machinery, incredibly complex software, and just immense power. It's a totally invisible infrastructure of engineering that, keeps our cities from flooding and our taps from running dry. So let's pull back the curtain on the unseen engineering of water. Seriously, think about it. We always hear about the floods that happen, right? But we never hear about the ones that don't. So what's standing in the way? What colossal force is holding back literal tons of water 24/7 to protect millions of lives and homes? Well, the answer, in thousands and thousands of cases, is a dam. And these things aren't just big walls of concrete. No way. They are precision-engineered guardians, absolute masterpieces of civil engineering that tame entire rivers, create our water supply, and act as our first line of defense against disaster. To really wrap our heads around this, we have to talk about scale. Because the number of these structures hiding in plain sight is, well, it's genuinely mind-boggling. Get this, over 1,700 dams in New Jersey alone. And remember, we're not talking about a huge, sprawling state here. It's one of the smallest and most densely populated places in the country. It's just a perfect snapshot of how this infrastructure is woven into the landscape pretty much everywhere, whether we see it or not. Okay, so here's a really crucial distinction. When you hear a dam is labeled high hazard, it doesn't mean it's about to break. Not at all. It's a risk assessment. All it means is that if that specific dam were to fail, the consequences downstream would be absolutely catastrophic. And that is why inspecting them isn't just routine, it's a mission-critical operation. So who are the people on the front lines making sure these silent guardians stay, well, strong? Let's gear up and spend a day on the dam. This is Casey Pantaleo. He's a professional engineer, and his job is basically to be an infrastructure detective. He and experts just like him are the human element in this whole system, combining decades of engineering knowledge with a super sharp eye for those tiny little details that could spell big, big trouble. An inspection like this is really a 4-phase operation. It all starts in the office, digging through old blueprints and past reports. Then comes prepping all the gear for the field. The main event, of course, is the meticulous on-site examination. And finally, everything gets compiled into a detailed report with a clear action plan. It's just this constant cycle of vigilance. And this is the toolkit. I mean, you've got the basics, of course, like a tape measure and a camera, but then you get this specialized gear. That tile probe is fascinating. It's just a simple metal rod that Casey can push into an earthen dam to literally feel for problems under the surface. Things like soft spots or hidden voids that are completely invisible to the naked eye. So what's he hunting for with all this gear? Well, a lot of the time, it's the little things. A groundhog burrow might seem harmless, but it's a potential pathway for water to start eating away at the dam from the inside. A small muddy patch of water could be a sign of uncontrolled seepage, which is a major red flag for internal erosion. Every single clue matters. But look, the boots on the ground inspection is only half the picture. To truly understand the incredible forces at play here, engineers have to move from the field to the digital realm, using some seriously powerful software to model the future. Okay, here's the first big problem you have to solve. A monster storm is on the radar. How on earth do you predict exactly how much water is going to pour into a river system? You've got to account for the rain, any snowmelt, how wet the ground already is, land use. It's just this massive dynamic puzzle. The solution is a piece of software called HEC-SM. This is a powerful modeling engine that was developed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. You feed it all the data on the watershed and the storm, and it simulates the hydrology, calculating the exact flow of water that engineers are going to have to manage. Right, so now you know how much water is coming. But that's not enough, is it? The next critical problem is, where is all that water going to go? How deep is it going to get? How fast will it move? And the big one, which specific neighborhoods will be underwater? For that, you need HEC-RAS. This software takes all that flow data from HEC-HMS and builds a detailed 2D simulation of the river itself. And get this, it's so vital that a whopping 80% of all official FEMA flood maps in the US are generated using this exact tool. It literally turns raw data into a clear picture of what's at risk. So you have the real-world structures, the hands-on inspections, and the powerful software. What does all that add up to? I mean, what does a career as a water resources engineer actually look like day to day? Well, it's kind of a job of two halves. On one side, you've got the really deep technical work, building those complex computer models, analyzing geographic data, the whole shebang. But on the other side, You're a planner and a communicator. You're dealing with environmental regulations, writing reports, and even representing your organization at state and federal meetings. It's a field that really attracts people who want to solve complex puzzles that have a direct positive impact. As one user on a civil engineering forum told someone who was exploring the career, if you love this mix of nature, data, and problem solving, you will absolutely love water resources. But here's the thing. Every single aspect of this job, the dams, the inspections, the software, all of it, is now being stress tested by a massive, overarching challenge: our changing climate. And this is not some far-off abstract idea. Just look at this map. It shows observed changes in heavy rainfall events. For most of the United States, the heaviest storms are already getting heavier. The data is clear. The weather of the past is not the weather of today. And this, right here, is the single biggest challenge for modern civil engineering. The fundamental assumption they've always used, that you can look at 100 years of historical data to design for the next 100 years, that assumption is broken. The rulebook that built our entire world is now pretty much obsolete. So engineers are writing a new one. They're building in much bigger safety margins, designing for the 500-year flood instead of the 100-year one. They're enlarging every part of the system, from culverts to spillways, and even using nature-based solutions like wetlands to help absorb the impact of these more powerful storms. And this is already becoming official policy. After Hurricane Harvey just swamped Houston, the city actually changed its building codes. Now, any new construction has to be built 2 feet above the projected 500-year flood level. It's a direct response, written right into law, acknowledging this new reality we live in. Which really brings us to the final critical question. Our entire system of water control, all our dams, our levees, our storm drains, it was all built for the climate of the 20th century. So faced with a 21st century of supercharged storms and way more uncertainty, are we re-engineering our silent guardians fast enough?